Hello, and welcome to episode 84 of the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. I'm James Parisi here with my co-host Aiden Sarah, and we are well into the second round now. This one's coming at you about on day two of the second round. We're recording on Tuesday, May 6th. You were probably hearing this on Wednesday, May 7th, or maybe later. Maybe you're just catching up. Maybe you're one of those odd people who listens to podcasts that are kind of news-based, but like way out of line. Much like my foreman Scotty. If this is you, Scotty, cheers for listening. I can't wait to catch up with my co-host. Can't wait to talk about all the hockey that's gone on. But Aiden, first things first, do you mind if I sit here and complain about Sportsnet Plus once
Yeah,
more?
this will be the second consecutive episode that we didn't have too many kind things to say about the Sportsnet streaming service. And James, I will allow you to take it from here because it is very timely. We are a pro hockey watching podcast, and all of our friends we're telling to watch hockey are being forced to do it in a less than ideal way. So I'll let you take it.
So, first things first, I encountered a new issue, a complete new issue, while going to watch the Toronto versus Florida first game of the second round, which fantastic game, by the way. I had a great time watching it. Can't wait to chat about that one. Um, for about 10 minutes, every time I tried to click on it, no matter which device, it said content protection error. Now, I got one of my buddies to check and click on it from his account, no issue. So why am I getting content protection error? I looked it up with support. They told me to close the app and open it up again. Really good support. That did work after about 15 tries. Now, another major issue, because that was just another weird little thing. For some reason, the first few minutes you start streaming off of Sportsnet Plus, um, it really seems to enjoy just having complete garbage quality. Now, I've had some people go, "Oh, well, it's a live stream, like that you're tapping into a live stream. It's got to take a while to buffer in." No. How come the dude with the HD streaming camera on YouTube can have a perfect live stream for free without any buffering issues whatsoever? And how come Netflix WWE Live doesn't have that problem? Like what are we missing here? To top it off, I've fully decided that I will be not renewing my Sportsnet Plus subscription whatsoever. That's the end for me. And sadly they have a monopoly. I see pretty much no other convenient option. I'm gonna be heading elsewhere, but I'm not telling everyone to jump off that bandwagon with me, but the door's right there. And the other options, while annoying to set up, are better. I'll touch on that more in the summer before the season comes in.
Yeah, and obviously, like every off season there's going to be discussions about this. And so when you hear them and when you hear like the NHL talk about how the revenue from streaming and the revenue from viewership isn't where they'd like it to be, at least in the situation that we're describing here, it's kind of self-inflicted.
Yeah.
It's shooting themselves in the foot because, yeah, James, like you said, has been a longtime subscriber that is jumping off because pretty simple quality things are being pretty significantly failed on. That's not, I think, the most upset James has been about hockey, though, and that's where we're going to go next because Game 7 between the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche, James. 2-0 Colorado at the start of the third. Nathan MacKinnon scores, and it really looks like the Avs have it. And it was a former Av that proved indeed they didn't. So I'll let you take your watching experience of this game from here.
Aiden, it took some time for me, and I knew it right as soon as the game was happening and as soon as the game ended, but it took a little bit of time for me to sink in that that was one of the better hockey games I'd watched in recent memory. That was a phenomenal game of hockey, top to bottom. Minimal complaints, minimal gripes. which is amazing with a sporting event because I tend to pick things apart a little bit. Um, First things first, I guess this is the second thing, whatever. I really, really want to thank both the Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche for a fantastic series. There was a lot of respect shown with a lot of things, with Gabriel Landeskog coming back. The fans were great. Dallas's fans are awesome. Colorado's fans are awesome. Didn't see a lot of BS from either of them, whereas a lot of fan bases can really rub drama in each other's faces in the playoffs, regardless of sport. It's a huge thing. It's part of it, but I found that both sides were extremely respectful. The only disrespectful thing I saw was honestly hilarious. The Dallas Stars Instagram page posted a picture of a cowboy on horseback trudging through a mountain pass, and it said avalanche danger, none on a little sign. They posted that immediately after the game. You know what? That's hilarious. Props to their socials team because you didn't just rub it in our faces, but you did it with creativity without seeming lame and like you're beating a dead horse.
It was humor too. I love
Yeah,
humor.
it was
It was
awesome.
funny.
That was very funny. I will never knock anyone for actually being funny. Taking things actually to the game. It really, really seemed like Colorado was in the driver's seat through a lot of that contest. Um, but one thing of note, real chances for either side were few and far between. Yes, there were scoring chances throughout, but real I'm in danger moments for either side didn't really seem to happen that much. I think outside of Colorado's two goals through the bulk of the contest and before Dallas had their barrage, which I will get to, I counted maybe three true scoring chances. Like it wasn't that dangerous. It was a fairly calculated game, and you have to give props to both sides for keeping it that way. It was a bit of a chess match, but you know, I always say one of my favorite parts about this sport are the storylines, the passion behind them. And Colorado chose to trade away Matt Duchene years ago. And last year, in the second round, he scored the overtime game winner to eliminate the Colorado Avalanche. This year, Colorado chose to trade away Mikko Rantanen. He didn't ask for a deal to be dealt out of Colorado. Duchene did. Rantanen was blindsided. He gets sent off to Carolina. We all know the story. Then Carolina trades him to Dallas. Blah, 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 blah. Now, we spend the next few months with people putting up graphs all the time going, well, Stankoven's doing this. Oh, well, Natchez is doing this. Oh, Colorado got Natchez and Drury. Oh my God, look at Rantanen's stat line. Blah, 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 blah. Who the hell is laughing now? It's Mikko Rantanen, but he's not laughing. He's respectful. Did you see him in his post-game interview after he scores the goal that makes it 2-1, showing the most confidence and poise I've seen of any player in this playoffs? That was probably the most nice, pure hockey goal I've seen in a long time. And then he comes back, gets another. I am so scared of that line, that Granlund, Hansen, Rantanen line. When Robo comes back, they cannot break that lineup. That line's fantastic. That Finnish Mafia, I do not want anything to do with the Finnish Mafia. They are scary, scary dudes. Um, the Eventually Jack Drury ends up taking a penalty, which the penalties come under some scrutiny online. It was a penalty in any game of the regular season. It was a penalty in the first two periods of any playoff game. But with 4 minutes left in a game seven that's tied, I'm sorry, that's not a penalty. You can say I'm biased. You totally can. And you know what? I'm not even going to knock the ref for calling it. I'm just kind of sitting here shaking my head because I think you got to really rip a guy's head off to get called for a penalty in a game seven in the final 4 minutes. Look at the Winnipeg St. Louis game seven in the overtime. I counted at least six penalties.
Oh yeah.
None of them called. None of them. And that's how it should have been done. I believe you put the whistles away unless it's extremely egregious. That is a gripe I will always have, unfortunately. That is going to leave a sour taste in my mouth because that totally took the wind out of everyone's sails. Yeah, they just completely lost the lead. It was invisible after that. But Aiden, I don't think you should be calling that at all. If it was 5 minutes earlier, if it was 3 minutes earlier, sure. But barely over 4 minutes left in the period in the game. No, I'm not really on board with that. But kudos to the Dallas Stars. Wyatt Johnson looks phenomenal. I really, really think the Winnipeg Jets who are playing them next and any other team that plays them after, you really gotta watch for this play they make on the power play where Duchesne gets it down low pretty much on the goal line. He backpedals it a bit and opens it up, making it look like he's gonna pass it outside. And as soon as a player goes to him, he goes directly through the crease to Wyatt Johnson on the other side. That's a goal they've scored many times this season. I think 4 or 5 at least during the regular season. I was watching a breakdown on it online. Props to whoever put that video together on X. I watched it repeatedly in disgust because it's disgusting. And I think they did it twice during the series to success.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's a real dangerous but real readable play. So, yeah, incredible game. Absolute heartbreaker. As is the case with every time the Avalanche are knocked out in that kind of fashion. When it's a blowout and they get crushed, I mean it doesn't hit as hard, but when it's close like that, I usually end up staring at the wall in despair, without any life in my eyes for a good 15 minutes. I had nothing to say. My roommate was watching the game with me. He knew not to add anything in. He knew just to let me ride it out. Um, but Aiden, I think my favorite part about this series, now that it's over, now that I can kind of, now that I'm over the pain of it, um, that video the NHL Instagram put out of the handshake line zeroed in on Landeskog. Every player that shakes hands with him says, "Great job, Landy. Great to have you back. Great to have you back. You're an inspiration. Thank you so much for coming back. You've really shown what a hockey player can do." And then it comes to Matt Duchene, like amazing to have you back. I'm so proud of you. These guys played together for years, and all the love that's shown, like the big tender embrace. Like Colin Blackwell had a couple really nice things to say to him. Jake Ottinger, like uh, I don't remember the last time a player who isn't retiring had that much respect in a handshake line. It was incredible. And then Rantanen comes to him and like it was perfect. It was beautiful to watch. And I'm really thankful for that moment. And I think Avalanche fans are all very thankful for that moment. Is it safe to say Landeskog wins the Bill Masterton? Because it seems like he's the most respected player in the NHL right now.
I think it's a shoe in, man. There's no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, like if there was betting odds, I am putting my entire life on that.
Dash 2,500.
Yeah,
Like,
because like I think Fleury just got to respect Nom for it. And then like Monahan, like I hate to say not him, but like I don't know. I don't know. I hate to
I
say not him now that I'm thinking about it.
yeah, I do think it's Gabe for sure.
Moving on. Watch out for the Finnish Mafia. Winnipeg, you're in for some hell. Do we take it there next?
Do you want to take it Winnipeg St. Louis next
Yeah.
before we, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, we had the crazy Dallas Colorado game 7 the day before, and it was going to take a lot to one up it. But James, man, it one upped it. That was something absolutely unbelievable. And when you think dramatic playoff moments, you think of big ones that happen in the Stanley Cup final, big ones that happen late in a game, big ones that happen in a game 7, big ones that happen to keep a team's season alive. Cole Perfetti's tying goal with, I think, what, 1.6 seconds left in that
Hmm.
third period. That was all of them put together. That was Winnipeg's survival on the season. That was a game seven on home ice to tie it late and keep it alive. And that felt like a moment in this season that it's going to be hard to have that one up. Like I think Connor McDavid against the Americans in the Four Nations is what I'm going to remember this season for so far. But man, that Perfetti tying goal, especially like the puck gets cleared to Ehlers, man, on that left wing wall, and it's over. Like there's like 3 seconds left. How does that puck end up in the net? But Ehlers swings it to Connor. Kyle Connor's not trying to pass this puck. Kyle Connor's just trying to fling it on goal, and Perfetti tips it home from the slot. But that was at the end of a crazy game and a crazy series, James. So
Crazy series.
Winnipeg just gets over the finish line. The President's Trophy winners in the second round. What are your thoughts coming out of this one?
Well, Aiden, first I need you to answer a question for me. After the first four games of this series were complete, did you have any faith in the Winnipeg Jets? Because I sure as hell didn't.
You know why I you know why I didn't like completely throw it
I
away?
thought this was a 1-8 upset.
Yeah. Right away, I think after game three and definitely after game four, I was equating Connor Hellebuck in this series to Roberto Luongo in the 2011 Stanley Cup final
Mhm.
for Vancouver, where he just couldn't play on the road. And so when I was doing that, I was equating again in reverse and saying, okay, well, Hellebuck can't play in St. Louis, Luongo couldn't play in Boston, but he sure as hell could play in Vancouver. So I had the faith in Winnipeg going back to Winnipeg, but I knew early that if they won
Then
this
what happened
series,
with Luongo in Vancouver in Game 7, though?
well, and when Matthew Joseph beat him from the top of the circle, I thought we were heading there, man.
Is that's the 2-0 goal?
Yes, that
And
was
that's
not.
that's what, 5 minutes into the game?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that was the backbreaker right there. Like I had
I
faith.
thought they were gonna lose 7-0.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but massive credit to Hellebuck. Like again, I don't remember exactly what the first goal was, but I remember thinking he should have done better on it.
Mm.
Definitely should have saved that second one. But then from there, he was very, very solid. Not too many moments where you're sweating too much. Like he kept the game in control. He didn't give up too many bad rebounds. Like we saw him in St. Louis do, like when he was playing in St. Louis uh, so many uncharacteristic things. And I think that was the biggest thing, like did he look 100% the whole game? No, but those uncharacteristic mistakes and uncharacteristic uncertainties went away as game seven went on. And that's, I think, the biggest thing for the Jets.
100%. Aiden, I mean, this felt like one of the biggest storylines of playoffs so far. One of the biggest of the first round, to be sure, if not the biggest. And that was what the hell is wrong with Connor Hellebuck in playoffs. And I mean, I'm not willing to say it's solved now, but he sure did look dialed in overtime. He didn't have a ton of rubber to face. The Blues, I mean, the Jets outshot the Blues almost 2-1 by the end of that game. Jordan Bennington looked absolutely phenomenal
He didn't
all
look
game.
he didn't look like in any way you're praising him for this game seven. I think you could say that about the whole series. Truly.
Yeah, totally.
Like, yeah.
He's a gamer. He is a playoff guy. You give him a big moment and he will seize it. But unfortunately, he can't score goals too. He can't shoot the puck on the net very well, at least. But yeah, man, I think there's a chance we see a very different Hellebuck in round two. Now, if I'm Winnipeg, I'm a hell of a lot more scared of Dallas's firepower than I am of St. Louis's.
Oh yeah.
If that Finnish mafia starts ripping through the offensive zone, I think he's in trouble.
Well, when you're talking about that Granlund, Hinson, Rantanen line, like adding Jason Robertson to Wyatt Johnston and Mason Marchment, there's a chance that becomes just as
Well, no,
dangerous a
wait, no,
line.
hold the phone. That's not that. Jamie Benn plays with Wyatt Johnston. Marshman, Duchesne, and Sagan is a line.
It's Marchment, Duchesne, Sagan. So would it
Yeah.
then be Ben Robertson, Johnston, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. My thought was Ben and Robertson both prefer to play on the left wing, which is not as big a deal with wingers as it is with defensemen. Defensemen, when they need to play their side, they need to play their side. Wingers, it
Ben
doesn't.
frequently centers that line with Johnston on it.
And Johnston plays wing well too.
Yeah.
Like he's a good player. But regardless, like this Dallas Stars team, it's the three lines and waves against Winnipeg's defense, man. Because
It's three first lines.
yes, and again, it's against this Winnipeg defense. Like Edmonton,
Yeah.
I spent the entire first round just complaining about how bad Edmonton's defense were. Like seriously, like Winnipeg's defense is if you like lipstick on a pig Edmonton's defense. It's not like
Neil Pionk looks great. Josh Morrissey usually looks incredible, but he hasn't this playoffs. And Dylan DeMello is just not Dylan DeMelloing right now.
no, Dylan DeMello, even at his best though, Dylan DeMello is a number four, right?
Sure, sure, but he's good at that.
Oh
He's good
yeah,
at
yeah,
getting
yeah,
shut
yeah.
down number four. He's not doing that right now.
No, but you're asking him to play number one minutes with Morrissey. Like I know Pionk's their number one right side defenseman, but the way they run Morrissey and DeMello,
Right.
that's their top pair. Dylan Sandberg is a bottom pair defenseman. Like
Yeah.
he is being
I
asked
don't
to
even
do
know if he should be a regular NHLer.
yeah, and you're asking him to do way too much. I find that's the case with defensemen is when you increase their role beyond what they can handle, the play really starts to dramatically decrease. Like Hayden Fleury and Luke Shen deserve a tremendous amount of praise for what they did in that game seven. But again, man, that's their third pair right now. And you throw like all of a sudden what? You've gone through the Rantanen line, you've gone through the Marchment Seguin line, and now it's time for Robertson, Johnston, and Ben with Hayden Fleury and Luke Shen on the ice. Like, come on, right? And
Yeah.
so I think if Connor Hellebuck was saving completely everything that was thrown at him, um, you you might be looking at this as maybe a little bit of a closer matchup. But James, I think Dallas rolls through this Jets team, and it hurts me to say that because I want them. Ideally, all the teams left, I want Winnipeg to win the cup, but I think the Stars, like, I think this last six games tops, and that's if Winnipeg's lucky.
Two more notes here, Aiden. Adam Lowry, the captain of the Winnipeg
Oh
Jets,
yeah.
the overtime winner at the end of double OT there. It just grinded it out. Classic Adam Lowry goal. Like, love to see it. And the interview on TNT with Rick Bowness, who had coached him after, that was beautiful to watch. Bowness was his coach for a little while. I believe Bowness had a big hand in naming Lowry captain. Yeah, it was very cool to see. Like Bonus said, I love you, man. Like you never see that in an interview. It was very cool. It showed a lot of the family and brotherhood and everything that comes behind hockey, and it was a cool time to see it. Another thing of note though, everyone is saying, oh, well, this Adam Lowry line that can really help shut down the Dallas Stars. You know what? Dallas's fourth line has one Sam Steele who has really, really changed his game into being a perfect fourth liner and defensive forward. I think Sam Steele's line is doing everything that Adam Lowry's line is doing, and I think Winnipeg is dramatically outmatched. Stars in five.
Okay, before we zip off elsewhere, huge amount of credit goes to Vladislav Nemesnikov as well as Adam Lowry. Lowry's a beauty. He got the overtime winner. He's the captain. He led them there. But without Mark Scheifele, uh, Nemesnikov and Lowry were going into that game seven as the team's top two centers. That's not the top two centers of a President's Trophy winner most of the time, but they stepped up and they delivered. So huge amount of credit goes to both of them. Obviously, Lowry with the game winner. He's one of my favorite captains in the league, James. It doesn't always have to be your best player. Sometimes it's your best leader. Sometimes it's somebody lower in the lineup. Remember Derek McKenzie was captain of Florida as the
Yep.
fourth line center for years. Quickly stopping in on a couple of the other first rounds before our last episode, I think we had three of the Eastern first rounds all done. It was Florida, Washington, and Carolina all dealt with their opponents in five games. But we didn't have the rest of the Pacific Division wrapped as of yet. So let's go. James, you didn't think Minnesota was going to win a game in this series. And for a while, it looked
Very
like,
wrong about that. I vastly underestimated them.
well, and you know
Or
what?
did I overestimate the Knights?
I was gonna say for a while it did look like Minnesota had this series, and Game Four changed everything. I think Minnesota up 2-1 was outplaying Vegas. I think they outplayed Vegas in Game Four as well, but the Knights managed to get the win. And after that Game Four, James, it looked like Vegas. It looked like Vegas let their pedigree take over. It was a team that had been there, done that, had won a Stanley Cup, had the late playoff runs. They knew what it took to win in that situation. Massive amount of credit goes to those Minnesota Wild studs. Matthew Boldy had himself an incredible first round, but I think for the Wild, uh, it's a learning experience. I think they're in good shape moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have cap space. Parisi and Suter buyouts coming off the books. A big portion of that is going to go into Kirill Kaprizov's extension. He's eligible for that on July 1st, as he's about to enter the final year of that, I believe, 5-year contract he signed. He's going to get a big raise, man. I believe I was looking at it, and he's top 10 in every offensive category since he signed that contract. It's it's really gross what he's done to the league in points per game, goals per game, assists per game, power play points, everything. Not to mention zone entries. Like he is a zone entry machine. Like he gets you the puck into the offensive zone, which is one of the most important things any player on the ice can do. That's a part of how you win. You get it in the zone, you put the puck in the net, and you score the goal, and you win. That's hockey, if anyone needed the breakdown. But yeah, Kaprizov due for a massive extension. I think he probably gets like 13.5 per
Yeah,
year.
I was thinking of I was actually kind of thinking to set that as the over under and let you and let you guess at it. Because I was thinking like if they get him for under 13 million bucks, they
They
got to
won't.
be laughing. They got to be taking that to the bank.
It
Yeah.
won't. But on the other hand, for probably 2 years, everyone's been saying he's gonna do what Panarin did. He's gonna do what Bobrovsky did. He's gonna pull a Russian and or even Kovalchuk and wanna leave for a cooler, bigger market in a big hub city, so he can have a cool lifestyle. But um, Kaprizov has come out and said, "I love it here. I learned how to speak English here. I really like Minnesota. It's cool here. People are nice. I think I'm going to stay if I can."
I'm not calling that the Russian. I'm calling that the Kachuk. But
I mean, they were doing it long before
I
Kachuk.
know, I know,
Pavel
I know.
Bure, come on,
Yeah.
man. Like,
Pavel
let's look at
Bure,
the
Pavel
list is
Bure was
long.
Pavel Bure was straight to Florida too, which
The
is
list
funny.
of Russians who have left their team that drafted them and gone on to a way cooler organization in a big market in a cool city, it's long, dude. It's crazy.
Well, and that was part of the reason
I don't
Kaprizov
blame them though.
that was the reason Kaprizov dropped as far in the draft as he did,
Hmm.
was there was a question about getting him to commit. Edmonton, LA, after the first two games, this was all LA, then it was
Oh
all
God.
Edmonton. James, I think the reel we shared on Instagram was you ripping through the Kings last time, so we don't need to spend too much time dismantling LA because the only thing that has happened since our last episode is the Edmonton Oilers put them to sleep. Kings done in six. Edmonton gets through to the second round of the playoffs. James, these 6 games, the thing that stuck with me, aside from the collapse of LA, if you want to see the ultimate highs and the ultimate lows of Evan Bouchard, who I think has some of the highest highs and lowest lows of any NHL defenseman, they were all on display in this series. That's my most prevalent thought. I needed to get that out before I forgot. But James, James, it's Kings up to Edmonton 4 straight, Oilers to the second round.
Yeah, man, I sure look stupid for picking the Kings to march all the way through and win the cup, hey.
You didn't after 2 games.
I did not. I really, really, if I was smart, I would have bet the money and then pulled it out because they look damn good. I really I don't want to point any fingers at anyone. I didn't like how certain things were managed. I didn't like how some ice time was allocated. I thought some very useful players had very minimal roles. But who knows, maybe some guys were dealing with injuries. Maybe there's something we don't know. I just don't think with the quality of talent available, the ice time should have been diminished for certain guys like that. If you take a closer look, I talked in the last episode about this. If you take a closer look at their third and fourth line and bottom D pair, you see a lot of guys playing almost no time at all. But um, you know, a lot of this is stuff we've covered already, so I'm not going to get repetitive with you guys because we have the same conversations about hockey with strangers we pass by day to day. But um, I think. this was still a building block forward for the Kings. I'm looking at that roster and I'm looking at the series, and I know 4 straight times being eliminated by the Oilers. This is depressing. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. What is it, Aiden?
It's insanity. It's what it
Okay,
is.
perfect. So we're not going in with the same squad next year. The Kings have already relieved, or not relieved. They've mutually parted ways with General Manager Rob Blake. That's a really nice way to put it. Usually, when that press release comes out, it means they were shown the door quite politely, or and told that you could do this or you could get fired. We could make it look pretty and nice, but yeah, if you read in between the lines on that, that's usually what that ends up being. But I think we see a little bit of a shakeup with the Kings next year. I do think they go after a big player or two. I don't know what big fish yet. I don't know who's truly going to be available, but I really, really think they'd be smart to bring Vladislav Gavrikov back. I think he was extremely useful most of the time. Did he get walked by McDavid and Draisaitl at least a few times? Totally. Is every other defenseman in the NHL going to get walked by McDavid and Draisaitl? Uh-huh. Yeah, 100%. So don't read in between that one too much. But one thing that blew me away, not blew me away. I knew how good he was, but Adrian Kempe is like I have him as like a top 20 player in the league now.
Oh,
Like at least like he was already kind of there for me, but like he's right there. And I started thinking about it. I started running through players in my head. Would you rather Kempe or? And then a really interesting one came to me. Would you rather Adrian Kempe or Jack Hughes? I don't know the answer for that. And a lot of people have Jack Hughes at the edge of their top 10. Would you rather Adrian Kempe or Robert Thomas? I'm taking Kempe.
okay. So I am taking Thomas.
Oh, because he's a center. Yes.
Yeah, and then unfortunately with Jack Hughes, like Adrian Kempe is an entire half decade older than Jack Hughes. That if we're talking
Aiden, I'm not
rather
talking about
have,
building a whole franchise from
yeah,
a
but
logistical point of view. You want one guy to win a game, I'm taking Adrian Kempe.
yeah, if that's the question, I think he's among a group of 20 players. And you know what? One game to win, like a game 7, I would rather have Adrian Kempe than Jack Hughes in a game 7. I'll
Yeah.
absolutely grant you that.
In that last game for the Kings, he was the only guy I saw that actually had all of the danger in his eyes. Like he was like, "All right, screw this, let's go win it." Did you watch the way he crosses, like crosses from side to side at center ice and enters the offensive zone? That's exactly what Rantanen did.
He's one of the best play driving wingers in the NHL
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
You're asking though,
That's
James,
yeah.
what the Kings do in the offseason. The top 3 restricted free agents, in my opinion, you can make a Matthew Nyes case that he should be in here. But the top 3 RFAs are Evan Bouchard, Luke Hughes, and Noah Dobson. If I'm LA, that's what I do in the offseason.
You offer sheet.
One of them.
Hmm.
I would take a righty, personally. I like Gavrikov. I know they got Edmondson to play with Clark, but I think Gavrikov and Dobson as your long term. Like I know Doughty is still there, so they're gonna have
I
to.
don't like Dobson, man.
You don't like Dobson?
No, I'm over
Ooh,
it. I'm
ooh.
over it. How much did you watch the Islanders this year, man? He doesn't look good.
No, he didn't have as good a year.
Like I've talked a lot about poise recently. That is not something that Noah Dobson has right now.
I This was the worst year he's had in his career.
Wait, can we tangent right now? Can we could go really deep on a tangent right now?
Okay, what?
New York Islanders won the freaking draft lottery.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I think we'll get to that.
Okay,
Let's.
fine. Okay, that's just a
Yeah,
teaser. Yeah, sure. Okay.
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, and then maybe they don't match Dobson because they got Schaefer coming. Like,
Yeah. Who needs them? Who needs them? Dobson to the Kings.
yeah, yeah. Maybe it's a trade. Maybe it's
So
not
he
a.
can get walked by McDavid and Draisaitl. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. So Edmonton, Vegas, James, as we've broken through these first rounds. So
I'm
let's
gonna I'm gonna keep picking against the Oilers until they lose.
um I also will because I will reiterate that defense. And you know what? All the power in the goddamn world to Calvin Pickard. Like, let's go, man. You step in, you're playing awesome, you get your team into the second round. I love it. I don't think Calvin Pickard's going to beat Vegas, and I think even with that said, he has a better chance of beating Vegas than Stuart Skinner does. Skinner was horrible. Pickard did the best he could, and I think he will continue to do the best he can. But I think that Vegas Golden Knights team, with that everything they have, is just going to rip through the Oilers. I think it's closer than Dallas Winnipeg, but I still think it's Knights in six.
There have been some really funny comments on social media that haven't been getting a ton of traction. They're getting like 15 to 30 likes a post. But every time it's something talking about Skinner, it's offering him a job in something that it looks like he would be suited for. It's like pipeline pressure technician, oil field roughneck, deputy sheriff in Kalamazoo. Like it's just hilarious, and they're not getting a ton of traction. Honestly, it might take you 10 minutes scrolling through a comment section to find one, but they are so good. They are way funnier than the ones getting 500 likes. Oh, also, Aiden, didn't you get a ton of likes on some funny comments on some hockey posts recently? Aren't you kind of like low key in Instagram famous right now off that?
No, no, it was a it was a very over exaggerated video. I don't remember the exact reference it was making, but it had Brady Kachuk being impersonated by like a very, very hard to look at, nauseating monster figure.
You don't
And
know what that is?
no, I don't know what the video
Never
is
seen the
actually.
Goonies?
That's from the dude when I was like 8.
Sloth love chunk.
Yeah, him from the Goonies, and the top comment was mine, which said, "How did they get real Brady Kachuk in the video?" Because I just want to start my Olympic trash talking early, man. Like I'm all in for the Canada US Olympic gold medal game that's coming. Like that's where all my eggs are. I can't do anything else, man. I'm Canucks fan.
What was the comment?
It was how did they get real Brady
Oh yeah,
Kachuk
yeah,
in the
yeah.
video? Yeah.
And you got how many likes? Like 600?
I think it was 1,500 last time I looked.
15
Yeah,
hundy.
some
15 hundy. This
it
guy's
had
being humble.
it had 4 digits on there. But
Has Instagram asked you to monetize that comment yet?
no, not yet. Oh, actually, you know what? It's just I wasn't gonna bring up the Brady Kachuk comment, but now that you've brought up monetizing on Instagram, James, I was scrolling through Instagram Reels this morning. I did not go more than 2 posts without a sponsored ad one time. Like it was one, then an ad, then one,
Yeah.
then an ad, then two, then an ad. Is that like new? I feel like
No.
that. Oh my God, man. Maybe I'm just not on Instagram Reels very much.
Yeah, I don't do that.
It,
I don't use them.
yeah, it was bad. No, I shut it off. I was like, oh my God. Like
I'll
I'm,
just watch the suggested ones that they add to my feed in between my friends' posts. That's it.
yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. Yeah,
The
that's a good way
Reels
to do
section
it.
is as much of a mind sink and time sink as TikTok is, and I try to avoid that one too. So,
Yeah. There's our tangent for the middle of our west to east swing because we're gonna swing over now.
oh wait, we didn't say exactly our prediction. I've got Knights in 7.
Yeah, I've got Vegas in 6. I think they've got it.
Yeah, I think Mark Stone found his game at the end of that series, and that's really, really frightening. You don't want to be the other team going against that. I think Mark Stone is going to put Edmonton's defense in a body bag and ship it to Madagascar in the exact crate that all of the characters from Madagascar show up in. You know, the exact crate I'm talking about with the labels, shipping labels on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. You're gonna find Evan Bouchard in that crate. So, yeah. Good luck to you. I hope you have a map to get your way back.
I think Vegas might have at least four, like conservatively four defensemen that are better defensively than Edmonton's best defensive defenseman.
Braden McNabb is better than any of.
Yeah. Dude, the best one's Brett Kulak, man. Like
Ew.
like Darnell
Wait,
Nurse
when's
maybe?
Ekholm coming back?
Not in the second round. I think they'd have
Oh
to beat
God.
Vegas to, yeah. Dude, it's Nurse and Wallman as a pair on the PK. Like Vegas is going to rip this team apart. It's and I want it so bad to be Winnipeg Edmonton in this West Final. Like I want that more than any other scenario in these playoffs, but it is just not there.
Mm, Yeah, I mean, I look forward to watching. I like chaos, man. I enjoy the chaos. Bring it on. Next up, who we got?
Toronto prevails over Ottawa in 6 games. Big performances in that game six. Austin Matthews with a goal in a game in a series clinching game, not a game seven, but he did pop up with that goal in game
I
six.
believe.
Kudos.
I believe. Aiden, after Colorado being eliminated, I am officially on the Leafs for the rest of playoffs.
Well, weren't
I have
they
to pick a team. That
weren't
that is
they
the rules, right? Once your team's out, you got to pick a horse to ride.
yeah, yeah. Usually I'll pick like a player to ride. Like
Okay, yeah. I'm
yeah,
that's my horse to ride. I'm on
yeah.
Toronto.
The defense again is playing very well. They played very well in that game one against Florida. That has happened as well. Since our last podcast, they made good work of Ottawa in 6 games. Obviously, it was 3-0 Toronto. They had the sweats after Ottawa won back-to-back games. Toronto looked very bad in game five at home, but a massively impressive game six bounce back.
I thought they looked fine in game four that they lost.
Oh, they did. Well, and they could have
Yeah,
easily won. It was an overtime.
yeah.
Easily, they could have won that game. Yesterday, they looked really good until they didn't. And they let Florida get back into the game in the third period. I think that's something that's like an early series jitters thing against a team.
I think there's a hell of a lot more to that, and I'm going to get to it once we talk about the situation revolving around Anthony Stolarz.
Okay, that's a good aside because that was the other thing I was going to bring up. Like the game itself, to me, neither team should be leaving this game thinking that they have a better or worse chance of winning the series, really. Like obviously Toronto's up 1-0, but the game could have gone either way, and I still think this series could go either way. But yeah, the two significant things that I was going to bring up from this game one, 2 goals and 3 points, huge William Nylander performance.
Yeah.
But the other one was Anthony Stolarz getting a knock in the head. It looked like from Sam Bennett. James, you want to talk about the Stolarz situation? What's up?
You quickly shouted out William Nylander. The three most impressive players for me in that game were Nylander, Seth Jones. I loved what I saw from Seth Jones.
I agree.
Really gelled with that Panthers team, and then Matthew Nyes. He's blowing past guys. He's gotten faster this season. Hey, I didn't really think you could suddenly become a faster skater. He has. It's kind of breathtaking almost. I don't want to use the word breathtaking. It sounds like I'm making a romance novel out of it, but you know what? It feels like poetry in motion watching him blow past a guy and then weasel his way in around him while still maintaining top speed.
Well,
It's
and then he's
very
six
nice to
foot.
see.
What is he? He's like 6'4" and built like a truck. So as
Yeah.
he's doing that, you can't remotely knock him off stride like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Matthew Nyes is the all-new Chevrolet Silverado AT4 with 0% APR financing for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, and if he could be a centerman, wouldn't that be great? Because that guy
No,
exists.
no. Bring back cool wingers.
I was gonna say that guy exists, and his name is Caden Lindstrom, but we'll talk junior hockey at the end.
Yes. Bring back cool wingers. I miss when wingers were the star of the show. But yeah, man, Anthony Stolarz. So he takes a shot off of the helmet for from Sam Reinhart, and it was rifled pretty hard. I've seen harder shots go off of goalies' masks, but looking at the way it hit him and the way he reacted after, he had this little shiver that people are talking about, like a shiver shake that a lot of doctors on like commenting online have said that's something that is damn near a telltale sign of serious head trauma. Um, I'm paraphrasing from what I've seen and read. I mean, how much do you trust an MD that you find on X and stuff like that? But everything I've seen seems to be pretty legit. And It goes in line with the footage that came out later that expertly was not on the broadcast. I give props to the broadcast crew for getting the cameras away from this situation, but Stolar skated to the bench during, I believe it was intermission, timeout, something like that. Yeah, it might have been a TV timeout, but he skates over and he very quickly looks alarmed and is asking for something. And then you see him bend over as the trainer is giving him a bucket, and he just starts vomiting profusely into it. And then after that, he's gone. Joseph Wall goes in. There's unconfirmed reports that he left the arena in a stretcher.
Looks like ambulance.
Ambulance. Okay, it's
Yeah.
confirmed.
On sportsnet.ca, they said stretcher,
Okay,
but
yeah.
on TSN, it was in TSN confirmed that he was in the hospital.
Right, right. Yes. The stretcher thing is the one thing that I haven't seen enough confirmation on to fully run with it. But I mean, the reports are reports, and I mean, we'll say what we've got. But yeah, I mean, I really hope he's okay. Signs like that point to an extremely serious concussion. I've been concussed a handful of times. I have a lot of friends who have been concussed. And I mean, this is stuff I've studied, reported on everything, and followed a lot through my time as a sports fan. And it's not often you see one where a guy's first reaction is vomiting and very clearly not being present. Um, that is quite worrisome. You know, Stolarz has really had some, well, worrisome for his health first, but secondly for the Maple Leafs' success. He really clearly had some magic behind him this season and this playoffs. Like he's playing out of his mind. This is one of the better goalie performances I've seen from a non-big name guy in recent memory. I've loved what I've seen from the guys play incredible in front of him. Um, I saw something online that made it look like he kind of told Joseph Wall he might not be feeling 100% a couple times before that. And then like Wall kind of winks at him like, yeah, I got you. And I'm not really 100% sure on that though. Joseph Wall goes in and he's a goalie I have a lot of faith in. I'm a big fan of him so far. I've liked what I've seen early in his career. He was fantastic last playoffs aside from a couple backbreakers, but um he went into that game ice cold. Like we're talking about the Leafs fell apart near the end of that game, but dude, he went in ice cold. I do not think he was prepared to be playing in that game whatsoever. The game was over, more than half over by the time he steps in. And this is playing against the defending cup champs who are still on top of their game and getting a train rolled on you, basically, from all the offensive pressure. I think they're fine. I think he's going to be great next game. I don't think it was a fair situation to assess him on.
I also think he will have a better game too. Yeah, I will concur what you said about the concussion concerns
I
because
don't think we see Stolarz back this series.
yeah, I mean it's hard to say that now, but you're right, I think,
Mhm.
unfortunately. Um, like James said, yeah, we've we've both had and been around enough concussions to know what the vomiting means. You
Yeah,
know, you don't
that's
always
bad.
vomit. You
That's
don't
really
always
bad.
vomit, but when you do, yeah, it's a problem.
Oh, a blackout is more likely than a vomit?
Yeah, I did know that.
Oh.
Washington, Carolina is the last second round series, but James, did you want to give like a pre-Stolars, post-Stolars prediction, or the way things are right now? Give me your series prediction.
I hate that you asked that question because I do have two different answers.
Yeah.
I think the magic is gone without him, and I have Cats in 6. I think before that I had Leafs in 7.
Yeah, I think this to me is the difference right now between Panthers in 7 and
And this
Panthers in
isn't, wait, hold
6.
on. This is not a knock on Joseph Wall whatsoever.
Yeah.
I just think there was some magic, some playoff voodoo going with Stolarz that was incredible. And it was a Dragon Slayer against his former team, pretty much. Um, I just don't think. I think the mental game of losing your goalie who has been so incredible is going to be really hard for that team to overcome.
Yeah, I think I'll go Panthers in seven. I
Yeah.
probably would have said Florida winning still with Stolars more than anything else because of the way they rolled through Tampa. Like I had Toronto in the final from the start of the playoffs, but I definitely was kind of baffled at how Florida dismantled Tampa Bay, even with the injuries the Lightning were
Baffled, hey?
dealing with. A little bit. I did not see Florida could have easily won that series every time, but it was not close. Like it was, they rolled right over them. And so I think Florida wins this series, and yeah, they'll find themselves in another Eastern Conference final. Unfortunately, James, no shade to Washington, Carolina, but I think this is pretty objectively the fourth most interesting second round series that we have on the docket here.
It shouldn't be, but to everyone it seems like it. I did not care that I napped through the time I would have been able to spend watching this game.
Yeah, it's 1-0 Washington in the third period right now,
Who
of
scored the
game
goal?
one. That's a great question. It's just on the TV.
All right, hold on. I will have that answer for you in three, two, one. That was Protoss
His
back in the
first
lineup, assisted by John Carlson and Brandon Duham.
first
Uh,
career playoff goal for
yeah,
ALAXA Protus.
yeah. The Hurricanes are doubling the caps on shots. Logan Thompson is playing out of his mind, and the consensus I've seen online, Aiden, is that between the goaltending advantage with Logan Thompson in net on the way he's playing right now, and the amount of size and uh, offensive pressure and pain this big bodied Caps team can inflict, they're just going to be too much for the Hurricanes to handle. And I tend to agree. I've got Capitals in six.
I think this is gonna be like razor thin, but I have more faith in Carolina's superstars in the big moment. But it's Carolina in seven. I think this series is gonna be a long 7 game war.
I bet you $20 the Caps win this series.
Yeah, okay.
All right, virtual handshake.
Yeah, that's
We
fine.
haven't had one of these in a
Yeah,
while.
I know. We can.
Yeah. And what's my record with you on these ones, Aiden?
I know you're ahead. I don't know
Yeah.
what the
I
stats
think
are.
I think I'm 3-1.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I do like the way this Carolina defense is playing. Like obviously we don't have a lot to say, but the way they've managed to put this group of six together, I was 100% sure that Alexander Nikishin was going to come in here.
Mm.
Um, but he's a left shot defenseman, and the way that like it would be Gostisbehere coming out, but Gostisbehere's been way better in his own zone than I expect him to be. Him and Sean Walker have made a pretty solid depth pair together.
That's a
Orlov and
really good pair to be a depth pair.
Yeah, and Orlov and Chatfield take the minutes that they need. Right now, their top pair they're running is Slavin and Burns. Um,
That's fun.
yeah, and Slavin's still on like what top three best defensive defenseman in the league easily, right?
Might
That's
be the best.
yeah, he could easily be number one. Um, and it's nothing against that Washington Capitals defense, but I think um, I like. I like the Hurricane superstars. Like the defense is close. I think goaltending goes to Washington, but Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis and Andrei Svechnikov to me are going to be the guys before some of these Capital studs can pop up with a big goal. And I'm speaking largely just about experience here too. Like aside from Ovechkin, you think through this Washington Capitals team, a lot of the like Tom Wilson. What is Tom Wilson the only other guy on the forward core left from the Cup winning team? It's Ovechkin, Wilson, and Carlson.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
think that's right.
you have this Carolina team that's had half a decade here of a lot of playoff experience against a Washington team that are kind of running on a little bit of magic, um, but it's going to be so close.
Yeah, I think I just like how the Capitals are built a little bit more, but I will say if actually what's prompting this is I was listening to Empty Netters this morning. Probably my favorite hockey podcast to listen to right now. If you haven't before, go check them out. Those guys do a fantastic job on an entertainment and news delivery level. Really, really enjoy it. But they said that if the Hurricanes are to win this series, Sebastian Aho is going to have been the best player in the series, bar none, no contest. For me, I tend to think something similar. I think Andrei Svechnikov needs to wake the hell up and be a god because this is a guy who has been built for playoff action. You think about his first playoff, he hops in there and drops the mitts with Ovi. Yes, Ovi did knock his lights out for sure. That did happen, but he showed he had some punch in his game. This is a guy with a lot of physicality, a lot of bite, an incredible skater, a great shot, and I feel like he uses less than half of these tools per game.
He
If
had a
he can wake up and take over, I will say the Hurricanes are going to win this series.
Yeah, and going into the playoffs, I was looking at him and I was definitely like I had the eyebrow up because he did not have a very good regular season,
No,
probably his worst personally since his rookie year. But 5 goals and 6 points in 5 playoff games in the first round. So my my Carolina pick is strengthened to me by how good Andrei Svechnikov's been
right.
playing in the playoffs so far.
It's a very fair assessment. I don't hate that at all. I mean, can you really, really be picking against the Capitals right now when all of the management decisions got them to this place? Ovi broke the goal record. They have the cool new rookie coming in. They have that goalie who just seems to have found everything. The victim of Nacho Gate. Like, it's just the right season. I think the Caps have some magic, and I think they're going to make it to the third round and get eliminated in a heartbreaker of a series, much like an Ottawa Senators team that lost against a cup-winning Penguins team in the third round. I think they just have some hidden magic in there. It's just the right time for them to go in and win a couple rounds. And I think Carolina is kind of boring. I don't think I've ever said that on this podcast, but I think I've said that to my friends a lot.
I don't necessarily disagree with that assessment.
I'm just so over them, Aiden. I've been picking them to go to the third round in the finals every year for like 5 years. I'm so done with it. It's just not fun anymore. I don't even like watching them anymore. Which sucks because I love so many of their players. Love them. Seth Jarvis, awesome. Stankoven, great ad. Aho, huge fan. Svechnikov, huge fan. Slavin, love watching him play. Like the list goes on. I love a lot of their depth guys too, but I'm just over it. Give someone else a chance to have some fun. What are they going to do? Make it to the third round and get swept? I've seen this movie before. It sucks. It's not even fun to watch.
Shot blocks 29-8 Washington as we approach the halfway point of the third period, and the Caps still up 1-0 on Carolina. Shots are 27-11 Hurricanes.
Yep.
All right. Is that it for NHL playoff action, James? Are we through it?
Aiden, I think we've covered everything we need to cover. Do you want to take it to junior? I know you have an update on junior hockey playoffs right now.
Yeah, if you want to go junior first, that's good with me because we've got a WHL final, and I will again reiterate loudly and for the record that this hockey is some awesome, awesome hockey available for free on Victory Plus. It's a streaming service. The Spokane Chiefs and the Medicine Hat Tigers have themselves a WHL final. This is Berkeley Catton and Andrew Crystal against Gavin McKenna and his merry band of wonderful players in Medicine Hat. This, like, again, I think it's coming out in my voice and the way I'm talking about this. I'm so excited to watch this series. Spokane is so good. Berkeley Catton is an incredible player. You want to talk play drivers? Catton rips through the neutral zone with the puck on his stick, like very few players have seen in the WHL. But you know who the rock star is. You know who is Gavin McKenna. He's been the best player in the WHL playoffs, I think, without a doubt. But he's not the only guy on that team. Hunter St. Martin's had himself an awesome year. Ryder Ritchie's a very good prospect. Tanner Molendijk is a very good prospect. And you've got Oasis Weisblatt, who's been in that organization for a long time. He's captaining it in now the later part of his junior hockey career. Harrison Menigan's been really good in goal for the Tigers. It's been an awesome season. Both of these teams have earned their right to get here. These have been the two best teams in the WHL all season long. So it's awesome when you get truly the best of the league head to head in the final. I absolutely implore everybody to watch because you're going to see Chris Stahl in Washington, you're going to see Catton in Seattle, and you're going to see Gavin McKenna too, the luckiest team in the NHL next year, in the NHL in the near future. So that would be my WHL update. Good luck to Spokane and Medhat and catch as much of that series as you have time to do so.
And you want to shine light on the World U18s? Take us there.
Yeah, every year at the U18s, I talk about this. That American team comes in as the heavy, heavy favorite. So first and foremost, I want to give a tremendous amount of credit to the Swedes because Canada and the US is often the favorites. But like I said, the Americans bring to this event uh, their U18 national development team program. And what that means is they have a group of guys that are the best U18 players in the States, and they're on a team all year long. So you have literally the best the country has to offer with as much chemistry as a tournament could possibly have from a team. Um, Canada still has guys like Gavin McKenna who are still playing in the CHL playoffs, not just in the dub, but in the O and in the QMJHL as well. So the Americans usually are the favorites in this tournament. You had Canada surprise them in the gold medal game last year, but a tremendous amount of credit goes to Sweden because they knocked them off in the semifinals this year. Czechia gave Canada a real scare in that quarter. Canada won 3-2 in overtime, and then Canada beat Slovakia 4-0 in their semifinal. 24 saves on 24 shots for Jack Ivankovic in that game, but Sweden with the 4-3 win. The Americans led early 1-0, but the Swedes never stopped fighting in that game. They end up winning 4-3. Philip Ekberg was probably the best player in this tournament. He was so good for Sweden, 10 goals and 18 points in 7 games. He deservedly won MVP. But unfortunately for the 2025 draft eligible, Canada just ripped the Swedes to shreds once they had got them in the gold medal game. It was a 7-0 drumming in the end for Canada of a Swedish team that looked to be honestly maybe to me just as likely to win this tournament as Canada did throughout nearly the entirety of it. As far as the Canadians go, this was a very, very level tournament. Like not a lot of superstars driving things. Ryan Rubrek deserves a shout out because he's not eligible for the NHL draft till
Yes, he
2026.
does. I put my stamp on him.
Yeah, 9 points in 7 games for somebody who is at least a year younger than a lot of these guys. But the other one's Jack Ivankovic. He posts a 961 save percentage and a 1.05 goals against average in this tournament. Don't forget, this is the Jack Ivankovic that Canada saw enough in to bring him to the World Junior Hockey Championships last year. Him and Carter George split the net for Canada in Ottawa. But if you look at this tournament historically, Jack Campbell in 2010 and Kari Lettinen in 2000 are the only two goalies ever to have a better save percentage through an entire U18 tournament than Jack Ivankovic. He's another 2025 draft eligible. So as we march towards the end of the regular season, that means we march towards the NHL draft. We'll have a lot of prospect talk for you. But yeah, massive credit to Canada, not just winning the U18s, but doing so emphatically over the Swedes and undefeated 7-0 go Canada through this tournament.
All right, Aiden, I'm going to take us and our listeners through a little bit of rapid fire news from around the NHL. First things first, St. Louis Blues GM Doug Armstrong has just come out and said, wait, did I get the wrong Armstrong? Is it Doug or is no, it is Doug.
It is Doug.
Yeah, Bill's the one in Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Doug Armstrong came out and he said Torrey Krug is unlikely to play hockey again. That is a really unfortunate loss. That news coming out today. Krug has had a fantastic career as an NHL defenseman. Really coming alive for that Boston Bruins team in the early 2010s. I loved what I saw from the guy. Really fun player to watch for a lot of years. And as an undersized defenseman, I feel like he paved the way for a lot of the guys we see in the NHL today. I feel like a lot of guys got opportunities after he really broke out. So, kudos on a great career to him. I wish him all the best, and I hope he's taking the news okay. New Jersey Devils, who signed KHL forward Arseny Griciuk to a 1-year entry-level deal. Griciuk was crazy good with SKA St. Petersburg this year. 17 goals, 44 points in 49 games. He's 24 years old, and he was a fifth rounder by the Devils. 6 foot tall, 194 pounds, could play both wings, shoots left-handed. He looks very, very good. Uh, yeah, I remember him vaguely from a World Juniors, and I remember him not looking all that awesome. His career's developed a little bit since then, and I mean, from all accounts, he looks like a guy who could step into the Devils lineup next year. These guys who tear apart the KHL, they can be hit and miss. It's not always that a thing that they're going to be awesome. Um, yeah, I don't really know where he's gonna play, but I mean, I feel like that's a sleeper guy for fantasy next year, so watch out. Moving on, the Canucks X account was supposedly compromised after a post with Elon Musk appeared. I don't remember the last time that a sports franchise had their social media accounts hacked, but man, if I were the person hacking through a sports team's social media, I would have had way more fun with it. I would have done some crazy stuff. So, I mean, step up your game, hackers. I want to see more from you.
Especially Vancouver, dude. Like the amount of like potential there right now, the amount of potential for jokes and insults and the like directed at the franchise and their owner. Yeah, for real, do better. Also, quickly while I'm talking, Arseny Griciuk, yeah, World Juniors, his World Junior year was the one mid-COVID, so it was like the
Hmm.
stacked one. Um, that was for I remember him more from an Olympics where he looked solid for a young
Yes.
guy. He played in the Olympics the next year.
Next up, Ottawa Senators signed Finnish defenseman Nicholas Matin-Palo to a 2-year extension, only at 875K per. Honestly, I didn't really love what I saw from him this season, and then he really, really stood out, having to step in for Finland as an emergency call-in defenseman at the Four Nations face-off. But 26 years old, some defensemen take a little bit longer to develop. Ottawa said themselves that they really like the development they've seen from him, and that's what they're signing him for. I mean, reading in between the lines and paraphrasing, that's pretty much what they're saying. Next up, um, Freddie Anderson signs a 1-year extension with the Carolina Hurricanes, signing on the cheap. The Hurricanes have one of the cheaper goalie tandems in the NHL. And dude, they have maybe the most cap space among contending teams in the NHL. Not maybe, they do.
RFA, RFA. There are so many RFAs.
They're not going to do it. Nobody's
Go
going to
get an
pull.
RFA.
It would
Grow
be
a
fun if
pair.
they did, but they're going to sign Mitch Marner for 15 million per. Next up, David Carl, the head coach at Denver in the NCAA. He was being courted by a lot of teams. News came out that he pulled his name out of the Chicago job because he wanted more autonomy when it comes to player personnel and development. Seems some coaches are wanting to do that a little bit more in this day and age, be a coach and kind of have a little more input with the direction of the franchise. He's staying at Denver, and all of the comments on social media that I'm seeing are saying that he's waiting for the Colorado Avalanche job to open up.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Do you know why that's interesting?
because the Avalanche organization just expressed faith in Bednar and said they're keeping him on board.
Yeah, and like that should have been obvious to me.
Yeah,
Like I wouldn't have remotely guessed that they were ready to move on from Bednar after this year. Like that. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, again, this is one of the most sought after coaches outside the NHL, if not the most right now.
I would say the most.
Um, if he wants the Colorado job so bad, yeah, you should take one and then get it after.
Go see if you could hop in as an assistant, you know?
Yeah, why not? Let Bednar teach you the ropes.
Yeah.
Make him.
Next up, Marc-Andre Fleury has played his final minute in the NHL. He will not set foot on NHL ice again, completing his retirement. But him, Sidney Crosby, Nathan MacKinnon, and a handful of other studs are heading to the World Championships. Aiden, where are the World Championships this year, and how can we watch them?
TSN always, always, always has the
Great
world's
broadcast team.
Yes, which means Gord Miller always has the Worlds, which is awesome. Friday, May 9th to Sunday, May 25th is the dates. It's in Denmark and Sweden, Stockholm and Herning. Stockholm in Sweden, Herning in Denmark. James, I've become increasingly illusioned by living in Copenhagen in the last 6 months. Um, so I'm very interested in just seeing all of this Denmark Herning place while we get to run through the 2025 Worlds. Um, yeah, and you can always tell, man. I said this before. You can always tell when it's an Olympic year based on the men's world's rosters because there's a lot of guys that are earning their spot. Sidney Crosby and Nathan MacKinnon didn't need to earn their spot. They were locks, but I guarantee you that the allure of potentially playing in an Olympics would have impacted Macklin Celebrini, Travis Konechny, Bo Horvat, Adam Fantilli, Ryan O'Reilly, Noah Dobson, Mackenzie Weegar, and Brandon Montour's decisions to go and play in this tournament. But it benefits the hell out of Canada because that is a very good team they're sending over.
Next up, Aiden, the Calgary Flames have signed a guy we're both seemingly a big fan of to long-term extension, Matthew Coronado, putting pen to paper on a 7-year, $45.5 million extension. That's 6.5 million per. He really broke out this season. 24 goals, 47 points. I don't remember the exact games played, but a lot of that came down the stretch. He was fantastic down the stretch as the Flames were trying to push toward a playoff spot, and in games that mattered, they really like what they saw. He's definitely a building block guy for that team, and I really can't wait to see what he does next season. A lot of people were kind of taken aback, going, "Oh, what? He only did this? Oh, he did that? Oh no, that's a lot of money." Aiden, with the salary cap going up, $6.5 million is really not a lot for a second line forward for the entire duration of this contract.
Yeah, 7 years, man. You're getting this guy for 7 years, and his upside looks significantly more than this contract. Yeah, this was a guy who 13th overall pick, 2 years at Harvard. I loved him last year, and I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't really seem to get like a spot stapled in that top nine to start the season. But that
Mhm.
just means that he earned it. Like
Yeah.
he was not given this opportunity at the start of the year. He worked his way up and he worked his way into that position, and then he really started to produce. If you listen to this podcast often, I'm not going to dig too hard into this because this will be kind of a broken record thing for me. But this is why teams love burning the first year of a guy's ELC as soon as they can. Coronado played one game with Calgary at the end of his second NCAA season, which means that this was his last year of his entry level contract. I guarantee you that if Matthew Coronado had another full season under his belt doing something similar to what he did this
Putting up
year,
67 points or something.
this number would be gigantic. It would be significantly more than 6.5. So, just a quick aside that this was clearly a deliberate thing done by Calgary, where they got him to burn all of his entry level contract ostensibly in a year and a half of NHL play because this contract was the result, and the Flames are going to be benefiting from it for years to come.
Aiden, next up, we've seen a lot of coaches move around the NHL. I believe the coaching carousel is spinning faster than it ever really has before. With Mike Sullivan being, oh, yeah, that's an important one. Mike Sullivan is no longer the head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's now signed a fairly sizable extension, I believe 3 years, but quite a bit of money, 7 million per with the New York Rangers. Aiden, I honestly, Mike Sullivan, great resume, but I don't think he can save the Rangers.
Me neither.
In fact, in the NHL player poll, which comes out yearly and I find is one of the most insightful tools, information tools, and information sources coming from out of the league, Mike Sullivan is routinely one of the coaches the players say they want to play for the least.
Mm.
And after the Peter Laviolette experience, which I mean, he's also usually on that list. After that, I don't know. I don't really love the decision, especially when it comes to a handful of young guys who are struggling to take the next step and a bunch of veterans underperforming. I don't know. I don't really like what I see there, but it might work out. But like I said, carousel keeps spinning. It's not going to spin for one of these guys. John Cooper will be returning to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that comes after a really weird rumor came out during the first round. Rumor was he was being courted by Utah to be a semi-full autonomy coach. That's what I was talking about with David Carl. How, I mean, yes, head coach, but you would have personnel input and input on the direction of the team. That will not be happening. Cooper says it's hard to see himself anywhere else. Details on that contract have not come out, but longest tenured coach in the league. So,
Okay. Anything else, James?
handful of award finalists. I don't really feel the need to get into any of them too much, other than Barkov, Reinhart, and Sorelli nominated for the Selke this year. I do believe Reinhart's going to take that one home. It's cool to see a winger get nominated for the Selke, and it's even cooler to see two players on the same team get nominated for it. Speaks volumes to how the team's put together, and yeah, love to see it.
I've loved the recognition of Anthony Cirelli's hockey this year
For
because
sure.
this is now the second significant one. Of course, he's a Four Nations champion with Canada. Um, and now, yeah, he's getting the nod for how good he is defensively, which is an underrated part of his game. Sorry, not an underrated part of his game. It's an important part of a very underrated player's game.
Before we cut things off here, I don't have anything for movies, but I want to go TV shows again because springtime, late spring, all the way through the end of the summer, you see a lot of great TV shows starting off, and I've really been enjoying having new shows, and I'm gonna take it to Star Wars. A lot of people have been disillusioned with Star Wars now that franchise is gone over the last, I don't know, decade, and you know what? I don't blame you. I'm frustrated with a lot of things there too. A lot of it has been total garbage. One thing hasn't been. That's a show on Disney Plus, an exclusive there called Andor. It's espionage style formation of the rebellion with Diego Luna starring as Cassian Andor. He was the one of the main characters in the movie Rogue One, which is one of the few bright spots that Disney put out during their era. Andor is fantastic. Its second season has touched on a lot of darker themes, a lot of things I never thought I would see in Star Wars or Disney. I've been really impressed with the direction of the show, and I would recommend it to anyone, Star Wars fan or not. I truly don't think you need to know anything about Star Wars to watch this show. It would just be an intergalactic espionage thriller. It's a great show to watch. The pacing's fantastic. Um, Everyone would call it cinema. Like it's incredible, man. Highly recommend. Aiden, have you watched any movies, shows, anything like that you want to shine a light on?
Have you seen Sinners?
No, but I know I'm supposed to watch it, and I'm supposed to watch it in theaters only.
It's very, very interesting. I liked it a lot. Like I would strong 8 out of 10. Um, and that's like I'm not gonna give away like where the movie twists to. It's kind of bizarre, but it works. Again, spoiler-free review. Watch this for Michael B. Jordan because he plays two different characters, and that is such a hard thing for an actor to do and do well. And the movie only works because he's so believable as these two twin brothers that he plays. So, shout out Sinners. It's in theaters. I did watch it in theaters. It was really good. And Michael B. Jordan is the movie himself, and he does a good job.
Fantastic. Can't wait to check it out. Aiden, I believe you had one piece of trivia for me before we head out.
Yeah, I wanted to do a fun little playoff one, and playoff overtime is one of those things that I nerd out about. So, since COVID, James, we've had six game 7 overtime goals. I would love you to be able to name 5 of the players that scored.
Okay, since when?
COVID 2020.
We've only had that many playoff overtime goals.
Game 7 specifically.
Game sevens. Okay. Well, Adam Lowry, that one just
Yep.
happened.
Yep.
Matt Duchene last year, or was that a game six?
That was a game 6.
Yeah.
Every time you get one, I will give you just I know this is a hard question. I will give you the like the one previous to that.
Hmm.
So after this Lowry one, or sorry, the one right before, you're looking for a 2024 first round. Funny enough, there's
This
only
is in the
been
Eastern Conference, isn't it?
yes. There's only been one a year the last 3 years, interestingly enough.
I'm wanting to say it's either Carolina or the New York Rangers, and I don't know why.
I don't remember. Were we watching this together, James? Boston Toronto game 7 last year?
Oh, it's David Pastrnak. Yeah, it's in that NHL documentary, that fantastic one that we're gonna get a second season of in a few months.
Dude, and is the second season going to have like the Four Nations thing in it too, or is that going to be its
Oh
own
yeah.
thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be must watch. Send us a note, okay? James and I have always like batted the idea around of like more to this podcast, and by that I mean like video stuff. It's a lot of commitment that we both would struggle to make to do like a full video thing. But James, what about a watch along for that season 2? How would you feel about stringing something like that together?
You know, it's funny, I pitched that to my buddies, but they said they only want to see it if we're not censored. They only want to see explicit. In fact, that's the feedback I get on this podcast the most is like, damn, it would be better if this was explicit.
I feel like at episode 84, if we start dropping,
That's a hard turn. That's a real
yeah,
hard turn.
yeah. Well, we'll leave that one up in the air. The one previous to Pasternak was a 2023 first round one as well.
Can I have a hint?
Also involved one of the teams that was involved in the previous one.
Hmm. Oh, okay. Is
I
this
will,
Florida against Boston?
yeah,
Oh, is this Carter Verhaeghe?
yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, let's go.
We haven't had one outside of the first round since, and these feel like they happen more, don't they? We haven't had one outside of the first round since 2020, which we'll get to. But 2022 had two in the first round. In fact, two in the first round on the same day.
Oh, that's messed up. Um, well, I know it wasn't Colorado Nashville because they dispatched them in 5 games.
Kale McCarr had an OT winner in that series, but it was not a
Yeah,
series
not a
winner.
game 7.
Yeah.
Um, St. Louis Blues? No. I've got nothing here. I don't remember anything that happened in the East. This was 2022. I was very enthralled with the West.
Okay, so I'll give you the Eastern one. It was Artemi Panarin for the Rangers over Pittsburgh. That was the series that Pittsburgh was up 3-1.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Crosby goes down after getting injured by Jacob Trouba. This is also the one where Louis Domingue says spicy pork and broccoli, not the best.
Yeah, that was all the lore of this series.
Yeah.
I will let you get the other one. I think you'll get it. I believe this was division winner that year against a wild card team in the Western Conference.
So this is Oilers
No,
because the Oilers. Oh wait, division winner against a wild card team.
Edmonton and LA have always been that 2-3.
Yeah. Vegas missed playoffs that year.
Yeah. You are looking for who won the Pacific this year.
Oh, oh, wait. No, no, I got nothing.
Calgary, Dallas. Can you picture the goal?
I know that Jake Ottinger had an insane series.
And an insane game 7. Like that, I think he made like almost 60 saves.
Wait, Calgary won this?
Yeah.
I got nothing, dude.
It was that Johnny Gaudreau one where he fed it to the slot for Lindholm. Lindholm was stopped by Ottinger up high, and then Gaudreau from the goal
Oh
line
my
kind of just
God, yeah.
throws it into the top corner. That was
Yeah,
electric. That was
that was
so
a great
electric.
moment. That
Yeah.
was a great moment. I watched that a lot this fall. We came back to that one a lot.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I'm really happy that this question and piece of trivia included that. Very cool. Nice throw.
Um, the last one, James, 2020 round 2. This shouldn't take you a while. In the bubble.
Yoel Kiviranta.
I think I showed you I had multiple prop parlay bets for Dallas Colorado game 7 that had a multi-goal Yoel Kiviranta performance powering
That's
Colorado
crazy.
to win. I would have won so much money if that had actually happened, but it of
Well,
course
he
didn't.
had all the magic against us. Why can't he have the magic for us? It's a joke. You know what? That was a really cool run for the Stars, though. That march to the finals. Yeah, man, that Stars team, they all seemed like buddies. They just seemed stoked.
Who
Rick
was
Bowness
the
was such a cool coach that time too.
I was gonna bring a bonus. Your random trivia question that I think you're gonna get. Dallas Stars random goaltender that led them through that playoff because it wasn't Ben Bishop. He got hurt.
Yeah, and it weirdly wasn't another good goalie that they had at the time too. They had another injured goalie. Was that injured goalie Holtby? I think Holtby was injured too.
Oh, I don't know if it was Holtby. You're gonna stumble on the answer if you Google it.
I know. Anton Hudobin.
Yeah, Anton Hudobin.
Yeah,
Well done.
and he famously had the video when he's like, "We're not going home."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
was sitting there with with that name on the tip of my tongue before you asked that question. I'm so happy I picked that up. Oh
um,
man. Well, hey,
also,
thanks for putting together trivia on this one. I flaked on it. I totally did.
I'm glad I actually did this time. You also had an 18-year-old Thomas Harley who made his NHL debut in those playoffs for Dallas. I remember that too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's totally true. I
Okay.
forgot about that.
We're gonna keep bringing up random crap unless we actually just
Okay.
wrap here.
All right. Well, thank all you guys for listening so much. I had a lot of fun with this episode. There's some weeks I really, really don't have it in me. And yesterday Aiden was awesome and gave me a day. Just wasn't feeling up to it. And today I honestly I wanted to nap. I wanted to just lay there and have a nap. I was building roads all day. I'm not gonna sit here and complain about my day, but some days you're really not feeling up to it, and then you go and do this, and it's not like it's super hard work. I'm sitting here chatting hockey with one of my best friends, but it does mean a lot to make this for you guys who listen and to do this because I feel better about myself after recording an episode of this. I have a great time doing it. So I just really, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank all you guys for listening. And without further ado, let's roll that outro. Thanks, guys.